Welcome to Aston Means Business, SMEs adapting to COVID-19 challenges. I'm Steve Dyson, the journalist presenting this regular podcast for Aston Business School. This is the second series of podcasts that's focusing on how SMEs are coping with the huge economic disruption caused by the coronavirus pandemic. Our first series was called Aston Means Business, SMEs Dealing with COVID-19. But now that the economy is moving into a new phase that's starting to plan to emerge from the lockdown, we've reflected this by changing our new series title to SMEs Adapting to COVID-19 Challenges. We're going to talk to businesses who are taking part or who've previously taken part in Aston Centre for Growth's programmes. They'll discuss their challenges, share their experiences and explain how they are adapting to the crisis. We'll also be interviewing some of Aston Business School's top academics and other experts, getting their valuable insight, analysis and advice for SMEs. In today's episode, we're going to find out how one Midlands company has developed a fogging machine to disperse its anti-bacterial agents onto surfaces in places like health centres, shops and restaurants. Micro-Fresh Ltd hopes that applying its hygiene products via a fog in this way will help make workplaces and other public areas safer as Britain plans to emerge from COVID-19. Please bear with us as all recordings are carried out remotely online to make sure we conform to the government's safe distancing advice. We're talking now to Byron Dixon. He's the founder and chief executive of Micro-Fresh. Hello to you, Byron.
Hello, Steve.
Also joining us online is Mark Hart. He's the Professor of Small Business and Entrepreneurship at Aston Business School. Hello to you, Mark.
Hi there, Steve. Good to speak with you again, Byron.
And you, Mark.
Byron, tell us a bit more about Micro-Fresh. Where and when was the company formed? And exactly what is its product? What does it do?
Okay, so our business was formed in 2006. I'm a chemist and I did a formula to stop mold growing on leather. What we found out was it worked very well, but also when it was tested against bacteria, it outperformed anything on the market. So things like Listeria, Salmonella, E. coli, MRSA, we absolutely outperformed everything on the market. And what that meant was it could be embedded into textiles and leather and fabric and clothing to stop these things growing, with the obvious implications in healthcare and the food industry. What I didn't realise at the time, being a chemist and not a biologist, is that odours are caused by bacteria. So we then had a product that could stop things from smelling. The obvious implications to me, more than anybody else, were things that smell are shoes and socks. So we approached retailers and said, do you want to have a range of shoes that don't smell? They said, wow. Back to school shoes is a big market. Parents throw them away because they either grow out of them or they smell. The shoes and socks, not the parents. And Next launched a range in 2011, which the whole market then followed suit. So Tesco, Debenhams, John Lewis, George, all the retailers followed suit, and we became an ingredient brand in retail. Since those times, John Lewis launched a range of bedding in 2014, baby and nursery bedding in 2015. Dunelm have launched quilts and pillows. Next have a range of mattresses, curtains, duvet covers, pillowcases. So we've become an ingredient brand in retail, just like Gore-Tex or Lycra. So you buy products with Micro-Fresh technology. They don't smell. And of course, in healthcare, hospitality and the food industry, they prevent pathogenic and nasty bacteria.
That sounds pretty good stuff. I could do with some of that myself sometimes, I think. and to make sure that our listeners can draw a picture of Micro-Fresh, Byron, and tell us just a couple of details, just briefly about your turnover, your staffing, and you've already mentioned your main customers, but just where your growth market is before the pandemic came along.
Sure. Well, before the pandemic, we grew about 40% year on year for 6 years, which had its lovely issues, which of course I worked with Mark and the Goldman Sachs program, which was fantastic for that. We outsourced all our manufacturing in 2012, all in the UK. Last year, we made a decision to bring it back in because we'd outsourced it to 3 different companies, all in the UK, and that was a full-time job in itself, managing that. So just after Christmas, we moved into a unit in Leicester to start manufacturing. We have 10 overseas offices, mainly in Asia, but we have an office in the US as well. And our China office gave us wind in December about COVID, or coronavirus as it was called at the time. luckily for us, we actually didn't start manufacturing. We'd ordered the machine but hadn't paid for it, and then of course the lockdown came. So we luckily hadn't paid out that money just before the lockdown. So our business, we're based in Leicester. We have a staff of 12. We're hoping to double that when the manufacturing comes online, and we have 10 overseas offices in 8 countries.
I think that, having the Asian offices and, as you say, having wind of what we now call COVID-19 coming. I mean, I'm interested to hear how your mind was beginning to think about the implications for your business. And, for me, every business has been impacted, most negatively, but some positively. And I reckon you're in that latter group. So what was going through your mind at the turn of the year, back at the end of December, January, in terms of what the implications would be for Micro-Fresh?
Yeah, well, Mark, the implications at the time, when we heard about the first stages of lockdown in China, I thought, I couldn't imagine people being locked down. It's like prison in reverse. But then what I realised was Chinese New Year is at the beginning of February, which traditionally everybody goes home in China. Now, that can be a 4-hour flight. So in February, everybody goes home. They typically lose 20% of their workforce that just don't return when they come back after the week. So I realised that with lockdown, they're going to lose a lot more. And also, straight after Chinese New Year, the production starts for our autumn-winter. The goods you see in store autumn-winter, which would be arriving in store June, July, are made in February. So I thought, well, if there's not enough workers over there, that's going to have a serious implication on retail over here. And that will affect our business massively in a negative sense, because our that's our busiest time between February and May in Asia. So I thought this could have a serious negative impact on our business. But then one thing we did, as I said, is we held back on manufacturing just to see what happened. And we looked at some alternatives about how we could pivot in the current climate.
This notion of pivot, many people are talking about it. So for Micro-Fresh, what did it mean for you to sort of, was that something you brought back to the team with your senior team to say, right, okay, what do we need to do here? Let me lift the lid a little bit on what the thought process was within the company.
Yeah, so we sat down in about the third week of January. When I explained to the team that this is what's going to happen, this is what's happening, it's about to happen in China, and how it's going to affect our business, we had to look at other alternative ways of bringing in revenue. A couple of things that we started to develop. The first thing was we thought, well, if there's going to be an epidemic, we didn't know at the time it was going to be a pandemic. Our products is mainly in retail as a selling feature, as I say, like Gore-Tex or Lycra. But then we thought we need to turn this towards the healthcare market and the food industry, because we'd done a little bit with them, but not much because we were so busy on retail. But we thought there's going to be an awareness of what you touch in the food industry, what you're wearing, who's touched it before you, and the same in healthcare. So we've had MRSA, we've had C. diff, but we could just see that it was going to expand into every single thing you touch. So we approached some private health companies and started to open negotiations about Micro-Fresh on other surfaces.
So that was well before the lockdown then. You were beginning to put some sort of alternative
feelers.
Yeah, feelers, exactly. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was probably second or third week of January.
And aside from that early research, Byron, how else did you use, once the lockdown in the UK got underway, how else did you think about your antibacterial agents becoming used in the wider business environment?
Right, yeah, quite a few actually. My brain, Mark would probably tell you, it spins at 10,000 RPM, sometimes in reverse, which is not the best. But we were asked, we looked at the industry. I've got friends that own restaurants and pubs and cafes. And I thought, well, when we go into lockdown, everybody's going to be nervous about this virus. So when we emerge, when we walk into stores, it won't be the same. We're not going to want to try clothes on, thinking who's tried that on before us. Mums with small children walking into stores will think, who's touched that surface before me? Who's held onto that banister? So we looked at ways of getting Micro-Fresh into as many surfaces as possible in a very sort of topical application. So actually, we teamed up with another GS 10KSB alumni, and we developed a fogging machine. So in store, or in a doctor's surgery, in a dentist, or in a restaurant, once a week or once a quarter, once a fortnight or monthly, we've developed a service where we can go in and fog Micro-Fresh on every surface. The machine that we looked at, it's if you see, not a very nice scenario, a robbery on Crime Watch typically, in a jeweller's, there's a button under the desk which releases this smoke so the assailants can't get out. Yeah, so we took that and adapted it so we can put Micro-Fresh liquid in and it disperses Micro-Fresh over the whole area. So every surface that you touch is Micro-Fresh protected.
And has that been sort of tested by the likes of health and safety executive, etc.?
Yeah. Well, Micro-Fresh is certified safe in contact with the baby's skin. So for the consumer as well, they know the name, they know the brand, they've seen us on baby products and baby footwear. So if they see, they go into the store and see this store is protected with Micro-Fresh technology, or into a doctor's surgery or into a dentist, most people, especially mums, will know the brand.
So with the government encouraging people to go back to work where they can't work from home, It sounds like Micro-Fresh is already and could be providing a huge amount of safety measures that employers need across various sectors, for gyms, offices, factories, anywhere with work surfaces. You could be helping them to get it ready to staff to return.
That's right, yeah. We've already seen it. I mean, we put a post on LinkedIn a few weeks ago and it went absolutely bananas. It was on a Friday, and my phone and Jigna's phone, Jigna's my fellow director, and our emails never stopped all weekend because, people are saying, we absolutely need this. It's very simple. It's a trusted brand. The application's really quick, and it's consumer confidence.
Obviously needed in the current climate as England returns to work. But how do you scale this? I mean, how is it working in partnership? Is it getting the? I mean, every workplace should have one. Every optician, hairdresser, dentist in particular. I mean, dentists have closed down. How do we get them up and running again with all the medical equipment and stuff like that? I mean, it's a sanitized area anyway. But how do you scale this particular product stroke service stroke machine?
We are forming a Micro-Fresh FM division, facilities management. We're going to get somebody in to head it. We're going to run it as a separate division of Micro-Fresh. And right now, there are some great people, either furloughed or made redundant. And we're putting a call out to them to please come and talk to us, because we're looking to form a new division. It's going to be a little bit resource heavy, but we want it to be a nationwide operation as a separate division of Micro-Fresh. This is here to stay. It's going to change the way we live. We opened our office in China in 2008, and back then, when you went through the airport in China, they took your temperature. Yes. There was an automatic machine because of SARS and bird flu. And I've seen this in China for 12 years. So it's here to stay. The masks are here to stay. The hand sanitizer is here to stay, which is some of the products that we do. But this awareness of surfaces, touching, even park benches, it's here to stay. So we're looking to grow this. Of course, it's a commercial benefit, but it's a benefit for the environment and the benefit for the public.
Have you had any interest from the government, from the Health and Safety Executive?
We have had a little bit of interest. We tried. I live quite close to my MP. Spoke to him about it. And he said, go on this government website and you fill in all these forms, you go through the normal channels and it disappears into the ether. So we're looking at trying to find another way to get this in front of government, because we absolutely think it's of course there are commercial benefits for us as a business, but there's a bigger environmental picture, and it's about getting people back to work quicker. My team, we have a mixed team of different ages, different statuses in life. We have mums, we have single people, we have young, we have old. And we want them to come back to work as soon as possible, but it's got to be safe. And this is a way of doing it very simply.
I think, Byron, you're probably well connected into Innovate UK, but if you're not, we need to get you there. It's about scaling it, as I said earlier. But I think what Byron's also talking about is the network of business owners that he has got. So this can't be done by just one business. It's actually taking that innovation and scaling it quickly in partnership. So it's getting the funds. And it's not just about government. Can I just say that? It shouldn't all fall down to government. I think, getting investors behind you, Byron, is obviously critical here. Depending on how much of the company you want to allow people to play with, if I can put it in those terms.
Yeah.
But secondly, I think it's about the partnerships you've got with manufacturers. You've got a global business, and therefore, this is not just a innovation for the UK society. This is a global opportunity. Now, obviously, there may be other competitors, but Micro-Fresh, as you say, has got the brand, has got that first mover advantage. So it's about the network, Steve. It's about where the funding can come to scale this as quickly as possible to establish Micro-Fresh as the go-to brand internationally in times of great heightened awareness of the COVID-19, and it's probably going to be with us it's going to be with us, period. And therefore, we are changing the way we work, we're changing the way we live, and I think this is a great opportunity for Byron and Gigna and the team. It's excellent, but I should say government will be interested, but I think it's about getting the angel investors involved, the formal VC, and the extent to which, Byron, you want to play in that space it's really down to you. But this is really exciting.
It certainly is exciting. And what are your next steps, Byron?
Well, some of the things, as Mark mentioned, ideally, there's people out there that would say, do you know what, I can scale this for Byron, for Micro-Fresh. I've got all the contacts, I've got the network, and we want to grow as fast as we can in the shortest time possible. So anybody out there that feels they can add to this, and we are open to investment, we are open to shares, but the main thing is we want to get this out there quickly as an extension of our business. So yeah, any connections and also the government thing, again, how to get it into the right level of government where somebody prominent sees this and helps us take it forward, because the form filling, SMEs don't have form filling departments. We just don't. So when it comes to interacting with corporations and government, it's a struggle because we don't have form filling departments. It's almost like we need a coach to help us take it there.
Aston and the Centre of Growth we've got good channels of access there. So, we're here to help, and that's one of the pointers of one of the whole objectives of the Centre for Growth is to not just give formal leadership management teaching and stuff like that. It's actually making the connections for you as well. So Innovate UK is the place to go, but we need to fast track this.
I'm sure both you, Mark, and yourself, Byron, will be talking after that. You can get things going even faster for Micro-Fresh. Thanks, gents, both of you, very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks for inviting us.
Many thanks to Byron Dixon, the founder and chief executive of Micro-Fresh, and to Mark Hart, the professor of small business and entrepreneurship at Aston Business School. We'll be back in the next few days with more case studies of how businesses are adapting to COVID-19 and with more crucial analysis and advice from academics and experts here at Aston. Aston means business. SMEs adapting to COVID-19 challenges. Thanks for listening.